Hi everyone, Alex here with video number 2 in the newly revamped YNWA Reds YouTube channel. And please, if you're just coming back to the channel, you're watching this video, do us a favour, we just relaunched it yesterday. So give us a subscribe, click on the subscribe button and give us a like for the video if you like it, alright? That's out the way. So the video today is all about the replacement for Jurgen Klopp, and I've seen a few videos making the rounds about all the different options we might have, but I'm just going to focus in on one, and that's the person who is by far and away the bookies' favourite to take the job. He's hovering around 2-1 on to be the next manager, and the next after him is about 9-1. So it just shows you how much of a favourite Xabi Alonso is to take this job. So I've spent the last couple of days just delving into Xabi Alonso, his background, his history, and what makes him the right candidate for this job. And the more I've looked into it, the more and more I'm absolutely convinced that Xabi Alonso is the one to replace Jurgen Klopp. There's multiple reasons for it. I'm going to now go through the 10 reasons I believe that Xabi Alonso should be the next Liverpool manager. So the first one I've got, by the way, you might see me hand go over here because I've got loads of notes for this. It's too much to remember. But the first one is pedigree. So Xabi Alonso, as a player, has been coached by Pep, Guardiola, Jose Mourinho, Benitez, Ancelotti, and Del Bosque, and they are 5 of the managers in the last sort of 10 to 20 years who, amongst them, that there's probably no other managers other than Jurgen who are up there in terms of what they have won. And Xabi Alonso has been a student learning under them over the last I don't know how many years it's been, as a player, and then he went on to also work as youth team coach for Real Madrid as well. So he's got the player and he's got the background as a player, and then you look at his record as a player. He won absolutely everything. I mean, he's a winner. He won the Champions League. He won multiple league titles in various countries, and he won the World Cup. And he was a key player in all of those successes in the teams he was in. So that's number one. Now, so that's his background. But let's talk about his current situation. And there are people who are saying that he's only got a couple of years as a manager under his belt, so he doesn't have the background, he doesn't have the experience to move into a job such as Liverpool. And it's a valid point. It really is a valid point. But you know what? Bob Paisley never had managerial experience. Neither did Joe Fagan. Neither did Kenny Dalglish. And Jurgen Klopp came after just doing Mainz and Borussia Dortmund. So you can't just go with the fact that they've only got a couple of years, therefore they're not suited. It's all about are they ready and are they suitable to be the manager of a club like Liverpool with its mentality, its current way of playing and its current status in world football. And I would suggest what he has done in that short period of time is he's worked miracles at Bayer Leverkusen. When he took over at partway through last season, I think it was in October of the season. So the season was a few months old. Leverkusen was second to bottom in the league, 17th out of 18, and they were on a terrible run. They'd been knocked out of the European Cup with dismal results, and were in dire straits in terms of potential relegation. So they got rid of the manager and they brought him in from Real Sociedad B, where he'd been managing. And after a little bit of a rocky start, he got to grips with it, and he took the team from 17th to 6th. At the end of the season, they were 6th, and they also made the semi-final of the Europa League as well, after they dropped down from the Champions League. And he did that by actually overhauling the squad. He had 5 first team players who had been sort of staples in the team, and he just got rid of them, and he brought in 8 new players. So he sort of revolutionised the team. If you go back to when Jurgen Klopp took over, I remember his first game was Tottenham, and you look back on the team that Jurgen Klopp had, there were so many of those players who were never ever going to be good enough to take you to the elite level. And Klopp had a process of one by one moving those players out. There was nothing wrong with them in terms of they were all decent players, the likes of Mignolet, Marino, and several others. But he moved them on. Klopp moved players on that he did not believe were ever going to make the grade. And so players like Harry Wilson, Jordan Ibe, and Ryan Brewster, they all got moved on too. And look at the crop of youngsters that's coming through now. They're elite. They're elite. And I'm looking at Klopp, and he's thinking they weren't to that level. Good enough players, the majority of them, but not good enough. And Xabi Alonso has done that as well. He currently, Alonso, after a season and a half, he's got a 63% win rate, which is phenomenal. All great managers have a win rate that's somewhere in the 60%. But get this, that's including the start of his reign when they were relegation candidates. And so if you look at this season alone, they're actually at 86% win rate. 86, and that's including the draw they had yesterday, which they absolutely should have won. 86% win rate for the season. It's quite phenomenal. Okay, number 3 is he's sort of using. He's not having tactics that are a mirror image of Klopp or Guardiola or Mourinho or any of them. He's developed his own tactics, but I'll get into the sort of the Klopp thing a little bit later. But he's got he plays with a 3-4-2-1 in general, but it's fluid. It's fluid, and he alternates the different formations throughout the game. But he plays with high wing backs. And one of the interesting things about development of the players is he had a player called Frimpong who was playing in a static back 4 under the previous manager, and guess what? He wasn't considered the best defender in the world as a right back, but he was extremely creative. So what did Alonso do? Alonso came in. He went to a back 3. He moved to a central 4, and guess what? Frimpong was freed to do his stuff in the final 2/3 of the field rather than the first third, and he's been a revelation. So it's another example of where he's looked at players and said, "I know how I can get the best out of these players," and he's done that with a series of players in that club. Number 4. Speed and precision of the game that Bayer Leverkusen play, and they're only one of 3 teams in Europe, the others being Man City and Paris Saint-Germain, who average over 650 passes a game, or around 650 passes per game, and Liverpool are more in the sort of 550, 575 passes per game on average. But here's the thing. When it comes to speed of pass, not a stat you normally hear, but speed of pass, that is the time between successive passes in a game in open play. Leverkusen have a speed of pass that is 2.7 seconds. Now, just to put it in perspective, Paris Saint-Germain is about 3 seconds and Man City is about 3.2 seconds. So it's half a second faster per pass than Man City's is. And it just shows, make of that stat what you will, but in terms of their passing, it is extremely quick. But the other thing that makes it quite amazing is that they do that with, and I've gone back through about the last 15 games, and they hover around the 90% successful pass completion. So they're doing it quicker than anyone else, and they're 90% successful pass completion is quite incredible. So again, it's an amazing stat. Don't forget, he's done this on a shoestring budget. He hasn't brought in any superstars. He's elevated a bunch of the players who are already there. So imagine putting all of this into action with the quality of player that we've got. I mean, we've got world class all over the field, and where we're not world class, they are of the highest possible quality, and the youngsters coming through are looking like they can go on to be world beaters themselves. So let's move on to number 5, pressing, the pressing game. Obviously, that's a big thing these days, not letting the other team out, and probably the best team in England at doing it is Liverpool. Man City do it as well. Other teams try to do it, but they don't have the players or they don't have the coach to get it right. But in the Bundesliga, Leverkusen are second highest in the league for tackles in the attacking third, and they're number 1 for turnovers. So they do not let teams out. And I watched them yesterday against Mönchengladbach, and Mönchengladbach virtually did not get out of their own half. They just couldn't. As soon as they won a ball, which wasn't very often, and tried to, they got swarmed by the Leverkusen players, and they either won the ball back off them or they fouled them, and they just wouldn't let them out. It was something to watch, it really was. So again, that would fit so perfectly into what we're already doing with Klopp's Liverpool. Okay, number 6. They are 28 games unbeaten this season. They have not been beaten in a single game in any competition this season. The highest that has ever been, and that's including Bayern Munich dominating the league for decades, where you would think they could have gone 50 games, but they haven't. The most that they've ever done is 24, and these are now up to 28 games unbeaten. And after watching them and studying what I've watched a load of clips over the last day. I can see why they are so hard to beat. Just like a certain team in England who are virtually impossible to beat as well. But they've lost even less games than us, because we lost a couple in Europa. Number 7, just another word about player improvements. There were players when Xabi Alonso came in who were on the bench. There were others that were being bemoaned by the fan base. There were others that had lost their way, and all in all, it was a mishmash of players that weren't deemed good enough to play for the club. And by either instilling their confidence, instilling tactics, putting everybody, and this is something that Alonso does, he puts everybody in a position where he will get the most out of them. He studies them, he looks at where they should fit, what their skill set is, and he slots them into the system. It's very system based, but he uses the players to the absolute maximum. And as a result, every one of those players in that club has been elevated to a new level. So taking all that into account, all the things I've just talked about, number 8, the similarity to Klopp's style is there. I mean, the overlapping wing backs, precision passing through the lines, which we've seen even more of from Liverpool this season and in prior seasons, with the likes of McAllister, Jones, Szoboszlai, all coming in, and and Endo passing through those lines has been a real feature this year. That's a feature of Leverkusen. That's what they do as well. Already mentioned as well the relentless counter pressing that they do, not letting teams get out. It all just fits with what Klopp will be leaving behind when he goes, and he plays to a system. It's not player focused. You know, Real Madrid will play a game that suits their superstars, and let's be honest, it's successful. Xabi Alonso has a system, and players have to fit into that system, and he makes sure that they're good enough to fit into that system, just like Klopp does. Okay, getting on to the last 2. Number 9 is personality. I mean, Xabi Alonso is a class act on the field, off the field. He's got the right demeanour. He's got a sense of calm, and just like with Klopp, there's reasons why Liverpool fans absolutely adore Xabi Alonso. He's a very, very clever man. He's well spoken, and he's a winner. He's an absolute winner. The other thing is, he is a diehard Liverpool fan. He was posting stuff on the internet. He was posting Liverpool memes and club badges for his support of Liverpool when he was playing for Bayern Munich. And he's come out and said he's a Liverpool fan for life. And while you don't have to be a Liverpool fan to become a great Liverpool manager, there's nothing wrong with having someone who was a genuine superstar for the team, who could now come in and manage the club that he loves. His son was born in Liverpool. He's bringing his son up as a Red, not as a Real Madrid, not as any Spanish team. He's from Spain, obviously, but no Spanish team. He's bringing him up as a Red, and that's got to be a great thing for all of us. And the last one is he's 42 years of age. He's only just turned 42 years of age. So if he's this good now, how good is he going to be in the future? So, we could overlook him because he's only got a couple of years under his belt, and look back in a few years and think, what were we thinking? This is the brightest, sharpest, most successful young manager in terms of coming into a club and taking it to new heights with a brilliant style of football that there probably isn't world football at the moment. So we got to snap him up. I mean, thankfully, Real Madrid, I'm not saying he would have gone to Real Madrid over Liverpool, but they gave Ancelotti in January, or the end of December, January, they just extended his contract a couple more years. So that we're going to be without a manager. They've just signed one up. There's also Bayern, but I can't see Xabi Alonso going into Bayern rather than Liverpool. I just can't see it. If he was offered all 3 jobs, I think he'd go for the Liverpool job. As it is, there's probably only the Liverpool job and potentially the Bayern job, because I think Tuchel will get himself sacked sometime soon. But we've got to go for him. We've just got to go for him. With all those reasons I've just walked through, I am now utterly convinced that he is the man for the job. He is the one that we should go after, and I hope that we're pulling up trees in the background to make sure that we get him. Just one last comment, and it's just a fun fact, really. But with a quirk of fate, Xabi Alonso and Jurgen Klopp had the exact same date for the end of contract in, you know, I mean, obviously Klopp is leaving early, but if he hadn't, their contracts both end on the same date in 2026. So maybe it's a quirk of fate. Anyway, let me know what you think of the video. Please subscribe if you've watched this to the end. I'll be doing lots more videos coming up, but you know, as much as losing Jurgen Klopp is probably one of the worst days we could have as a Liverpool fan. I've seen a lot of fans saying it is their worst day as a Liverpool fan when they heard the news that Klopp was going. We have to look to the future now, and who better to bring in than a diehard Red who's a winner, who is playing fantastic football, called Xabi Alonso. You never walk alone. All the best. Cheers.